Jasmine Crockett was a young, fiery congresswoman with a radical agenda. Judge Judy was a legendary TV judge known for her tough talk and no-nonsense style. When they faced off on live television, sparks were bound to fly. But what happened next shocked everyone. In a stunning display of legal brilliance and unshakable poise, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett didn't just hold her own against Judge Judy. She won the veteran jurist's respect and admiration. Now, the clip of their electrifying exchange is going viral, and everyone is asking the same question. Who is Jasmine Crockett, and how far will she go? From the halls of Congress to the studios of Hollywood, this is the story of a rising political star, a fearless advocate for justice, equality, and the American dream. A story that began with a showdown and ended with a standing ovation. The Judge Judy appearance was just the start. Get ready to be riveted as you follow Jasmine Crockett's journey from viral sensation to visionary leader. Because when it comes to fighting for what's right, this congresswoman doesn't back down. Not even to the most famous judge in America. Jasmine Crockett versus Judge Judy. The verdict is in, and it's just the beginning. Judge Judy Shineland sat across from Jasmine Crockett, her eyes narrowed. The set was tense with anticipation. Congresswoman Crockett, Judge Judy began, her tone dripping with condescension. You've made quite a name for yourself in your short time in Washington. But some would say you're more interested in grandstanding than legislating. Crockett smiled, unfazed. I'm interested in justice, Your Honor, she said. In giving a voice to the voiceless and holding the powerful accountable. If that's grandstanding, then I'm guilty as charged. The audience murmured. Judge Judy pressed on, her eyes glinting. Justice? You're a freshman congresswoman with no significant legal experience. What do you know about justice? Crockett leaned forward, her gaze intense. I know that justice isn't always found in a courtroom, Your Honor, she said. I know that it's sometimes in the streets, in the communities, in the hearts of the people fighting for change. Judge Judy scoffed. Change? Is that what you call the chaos and lawlessness we've seen in cities across America? The audience cheered at the judge's confrontational tone. But Crockett didn't back down. There's a difference between a riot and a revolution, Your Honor, Crockett said. Between mindless destruction and righteous anger. The people in those streets, they're crying out for justice, for equality. Judge Judy shook her head. And you think you're the one to deliver that justice? With your inflammatory rhetoric and your radical agenda? Crockett's eyes flashed. My agenda is only radical to those who benefit from the status quo, she said. To the marginalized, to the oppressed, my agenda is a lifeline. A promise that their voices matter. The audience grew restless, the cheers giving way to boos. Judge Judy sensed an opening. Your life seems to have mattered quite a bit, Congresswoman, Judge Judy said. Top of your class, law degree, successful legal career. You've enjoyed quite a few privileges for someone so focused on oppression. Will Crockett take the bait and become defensive about her background? How will she respond to Judge Judy's attacks? The tension in the courtroom was reaching a boiling point. Crockett nodded, unfazed by Judge Judy's jab about her privilege. I have been privileged, Your Honor, she acknowledged. Privileged to have parents who valued education. Privileged to have mentors who nurtured my potential. But my privilege doesn't blind me to others' struggles. If anything, it compels me to use my position to lift up those less fortunate. Judge Judy wasn't satisfied. And how exactly do you plan to do that? She asked pointedly. By defunding the police? By coddling criminals? By tearing down the institutions that make this country great? The audience roared its approval, but Crockett just smiled. This country's greatness comes from its people, Crockett said. People of all races, all walks of life, striving for a more perfect union. And sometimes, that means challenging institutions that have failed them, that have denied them justice and equality. She paused, letting her words sink in. I'm not interested in tearing anything down, Your Honor, Crockett continued. I'm interested in building something up. A society where liberty and justice for all isn't just a pledge, but a promise. A reality. Judge Judy leaned back, a glimmer of respect in her eyes. That's a nice sentiment, Congresswoman, she said. But the law is the law. You can't just pick and choose which ones to follow based on your vision of justice. Crockett met her gaze unflinchingly. With all due respect, Your Honor, she said, unjust laws have been challenged and changed throughout history. By suffragettes, by civil rights activists, by LGBTQ+ pioneers. The law is a living, breathing thing, shaped by the will and conscience of the people. The audience was silent, hanging on every word. Judge Judy, for once, seemed at a loss. She tried one last tack. And what about your constituents? Judge Judy asked. The people who elected you to represent their interests, not just your own ideological crusade? How will Crockett respond to this challenge? Will Judge Judy succeed in painting her as an out-of-touch radical, or will Crockett stand her ground? The audience waited with bated breath for her reply. My constituents sent me to Washington to fight for them, Your Honor, Crockett said, her smile gentle but firm. To fight for their health care, their education, their economic opportunity. But they also sent me to fight for something bigger, for the soul of this nation, for the promise of America for all, not just some. She stood up, her petite frame somehow commanding the room. I took an oath to defend the Constitution, Crockett declared. But I also took an oath to my own conscience, to the values of justice, equality, and human dignity that define my very being. And I will not compromise those values, not for political gain, not even for the approval of a television judge. The audience gasped. Judge Judy's eyes widened, then narrowed. She stared at the young Congresswoman, assessing, calculating. Then, to everyone's shock, she began to clap. Slowly at first, then louder, more enthusiastically. Soon, the entire audience was on its feet, cheering. Judge Judy stood and extended her hand to Crockett. Well played, Congresswoman. Well played indeed, she said. Crockett shook her hand, surprised but smiling. Thank you, Your Honor. I think, she replied. Judge Judy's grip was firm. I may not agree with everything you say, she told Crockett, but I respect your conviction, your passion, and your legal acumen. She turned to the audience. This young lady is a force to be reckoned with, folks. A true advocate, in every sense of the word. The cheers were deafening. Crockett blushed, and used to such praise from the formidable judge. As the show wrapped up, Judge Judy pulled Crockett aside. Off the record, she said. I was prepared to eviscerate you today, but you held your own. I think I just met the future of the Democratic Party, and maybe the future of this country. Crockett was stunned by the compliment. Thank you, Your Honor, she managed. That means more than you know. Judge Judy chuckled. Don't let it go to your head, Congresswoman, she warned. You've still got a long way to go, but you're a quick study and a fighter. Exactly what we need in these times. She started to walk away, then paused. One more thing, Judge Judy added. That bit about unjust laws and the people's conscience? Damn good indeed. With that, she was gone, leaving a beaming Crockett in her wake. The Congresswoman knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, that there would be many more battles to come. But she was ready to fight, to advocate, to be the voice for those who had been silenced. Jasmine Crockett had faced down Judge Judy. She could face anything. And she would. For her constituents. For her conscience. For the soul of America itself. The story of Jasmine Crockett was just beginning, and it would be a story for the ages. Over the next few weeks, the clip went viral, sparking praise, debate, and speculation about Crockett's political future. In hearings and speeches, she brought the same fire, the same fierce intelligence that had captured the nation's attention. Slowly but surely, the narrative began to shift. Jasmine Crockett was no longer just a momentary sensation. She was a force, a leader, a voice for a new generation hungry for change, for a government that truly represented their hopes and dreams. And as her star rose, Crockett never forgot the lessons of that day in Judge Judy's courtroom. The power of perseverance, of standing tall in the face of adversity. The necessity of staying true to one's deepest convictions. These were the qualities that had brought her to this moment, and they would guide her forward through whatever trials lay ahead. For Crockett knew the fight for justice, for the very soul of the nation, was only beginning. She had faced Judge Judy, She had faced the doubters. Now, she was ready to face history itself, and to make it, one bill, one impassioned speech at a time. The Judge Judy appearance had been a turning point. But it was only the beginning of the story. The story of Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman, advocate, champion of the people. A story still being written. But one thing was certain. It would be a story for the ages, of courage, conviction, and unwavering commitment to American ideals. Jasmine Crockett was ready to write her chapter, ready to change the world.